Hello and good morning to today's class of English. First up, I'll show you what satire is. This is what I have typed on the screen, as you can see. I'll read out what's there. It's very important for you to understand this chapter, the idea of satire and what satire is and what it could be. It's a form of literature, art. Sometimes it's also present in poetry. As you can see, it's the use of humor, irony, exaggeration, or ridicule to expose or criticize people's stupidity or vices, particularly in the context of contemporary politics and other topical issues. Right? So, it could be a play, it could be a novel. Sometimes it's a parody of another. It could be a parody of another movie as well. This text of the Tiger King is an example of parody where these are the important words. There is humor, there is irony, you call it satire, there is exaggeration. It's important to understand the meaning of the word exaggeration as well in contemporary politics and other topical issues. You'll find these things in the chapter in the Tiger King if you've read it. All right. To explain this idea of satire, I'll bring in two examples. One of a serious discussion where you have a write-up, a newspaper article actually on a current issue in our country, that is a certain lack of secularism that you can see, or there's a lot of attempt. This is an article. There's a Twitter actually. Yes, this discussion is getting a bit political, but then you have to understand the situation, understand the constitution, the ideas which our founding fathers wanted the Indians to have, not just for the next 70 years, for as long, for eternity. You can see discussions of why is secularism failing, words like hypocrisy, there are mentions of religions, and see the entire discussion becomes very serious. Some people may be offended with this. We should remember that this model is based on the West's own experience of power struggle between church and state. So we have studied in our 7th and 8th and 9th and 10th standard in political science that the religion of a state and how it is being managed, how it runs, they should be kept separate. And in some cases we can see that they are not being separate. You can see the mention of articles, you can see the mention of powerful global machinery. But on the other side, there's one more thing. There is comedy, satire on the same topic. Hear it out. I'm sure you know who Kunal Kamra is.
नहीं कुछ मशीन गन लाओ और रफाइल जेट ही ले आओ, मतलब तलवार और सेम स्पीच, साल के साल सेम स्पीच। हिंदुओं, तुम्हें आत्मसम्मान मिलेगा, तुम्हें हिंदू राष्ट्र। हम लाइक कौन मांगा? तू रास्ता देना यार। हिंदू राष्ट्र ऐसी चीज है ना, मैंने नेता को खाली देते हुए देखा है, किसी को मांगते हुए अब तक नहीं देखा ना, अपनी लाइफ में तो नहीं देखा। नहीं, बच्चा का पास हो गया 12वीं, पाप बोल रहा है कि क्या ये मोटरसाइकिल, बेटा बोल रहा है नहीं पापा इस बार तो हिंदू राष्ट्र लेके।
I hope this message gets across to you, the idea of the same topic. Secularism was discussed in a very serious mode before, and secularism was discussed by this comedian. Obviously, it is more effective in this story. You can see the first question. The story is a satire on the conceit of those in power. How does the author employ the literary device of dramatic irony in the story? Okay, so dramatic irony, irony of two situations which are very different from one another, and one has to understand. All right. In part 3, if you have noticed, if you have read the text, you will see there's the mention of the British official who wanted to come and hunt tigers in the king's area, but obviously the king had to kill as many tigers as possible. He couldn't allow that person. And offending a British official at the point of time when the British was so much in power was a big thing. It was a big mistake. One should not do it. Okay, there was always a risk of your area getting lost, and you may have some control over your area, but if you offend the British, or they can somehow manage to circumvent your power, they'll get it. So to calm that British official down, the king bribed the official's wife with expensive diamond rings. The king, just to complete the prophecy that 100 tigers would kill him, so he had to kill all the tigers. He used the taxpayers' money to bribe a British official. Okay, so I hope you can understand that the idea of political corruption is being brought out in this story very vividly and with a lot of humor. The whole idea is on page number 13, as you can see here, the discussion between the Diwan and the Maharaja is not serious. It's very funny, and that's what makes the whole situation very palatable. Instead of leaving us depressed, the discussion between the Maharaja and his Diwan, the Diwan who agrees to everything that the Maharaja says, and the Maharaja, his character. If the Diwan says no, he's going to fire the Diwan. So one day he just says that I have 30 tigers to be killed. Did you forget? And he had a gun with him at that point of time. The Diwan said, "I'm not a tiger, king. Don't kill me." The 100th tiger had to be killed. So the Diwan said, "I'm not a tiger. Which idiot called you a tiger? No, I'm not a gun also." So you see, the Diwan was too scared to even logically talk. He was brandishing a gun, and that scared him. The Diwan almost thought the king is going to kill him. Okay, then he talks about his marriage. He wanted to get married, and the Diwan says, "I am already married, king. Why would you want to marry me?" So it sounds absurd, but here the idea that the Diwan himself has two wives, but he has lost all his logic because he's too scared is the essence. And then the Maharaja obviously tells him that he wants to marry a person whose state, a woman who's in his state, his father-in-law would have lots of tigers left, so that he can complete the prophecy where he has to kill 100 tigers and then only he could live. The population in different native states, this was the job that was given to the Diwan, which the Diwan had to find. There has to be a substantial tiger population for the king to get married, to find a suitable wife. That was his objective of marriage, rather than what should be generally. Anyways, moving forward, this section 5 is very important because a lot of the actual message in the story comes down, and probably some of the funniest part. Okay, the tiger was not easily found, because the last tiger, the 100th tiger which the king had to kill, he wanted to kill it, but he was not being able to kill it because he had killed 99 and there was no more to be found. He could not find this in his area, not in his father-in-law's area. And suddenly it was reported there was a tiger that was found, and because the tiger was found in a particular village area, the Maharaja said those villages won't have to give tax for the next 3 years. Taxation is an important part of running a country. But later on in this paragraph, when you see that the Maharaja could not find the tiger eventually, the tiger was hiding somewhere, he doubled the taxes of that same village, which he said he won't be taking any taxes from. So you can see that the Maharaja is constantly abusing his power. He is someone who thinks he can do anything only because he's a supreme leader, right? The tiger was old and infirm. As I just told you, the tiger was hiding somewhere. Funny part, the tiger was hiding in the Diwan's house. So the Diwan, who was very scared of losing his job because he couldn't, pardon this, because the Diwan could not manage tigers for the king. He thought he'd lose his job, but then he found the tiger in his house. So this is very funny because in this case, the description and behavior of the tiger is as if the tiger is a Labrador retriever dog. It's being very foolish. It's like a sheep. The Diwan is not scared. The Diwan practically pushes the tiger in his car like someone would push their own pet dog inside a car. The tiger at last behaved like a total sheep. Now you see, we can understand the tiger was very old. It was already going to die and it was too scared. It was not a tiger that we know, as we generally do. In these lines, you have a lot of satire. The tiger was doing his satyagraha. He said, "No, I'm not going to go." He finally killed the tiger. The death of the king came in the form of not a tiger, a live one, but a tiger which was a toy. This is the part where he goes to buy out a tiger toy for his son from a toy maker. And this is very important because here the king does not give money to the toy maker. He just said, "Very good, you should give that toy as a gift to the king, to the king's son, the prince." You can see his corruption coming out, right? He is abusing his power. It's so evident. And if you can connect these kind of behavior with rulers of today or anyone in power, you will enjoy the story a lot. So those shrivels of the toy got into his fingers, right hand, and he got an infection. It was the older times when medical science had not advanced so much, and infections did kill people, and that's how the king died. Right. So the 100 tigers, out of which the 99 were actually killed by the king, the last one was not killed by the king. The last tiger, which was found in the Diwan's house, the Maharajas left, and the hunters saw that the tiger had only fainted because the sound of the bullet was too loud for it. It was looking in bafflement at the hunters, and the hunters themselves killed him. So in practice, in practically, the king actually killed 99 tigers. So the prophecy did come true. This is kind of what this the author has done. 100 tigers, even if he killed 99, he did actually kill 99, and the 100 tiger, which is not a live one, killed the king. That is the major discussion. And if you go through these 4 questions, the answers of which you have to be able to draft on your own, because the explanation and reading of the story is self-explanatory. Apart from that, I have given you so many examples to explain satire, what the story is actually trying to say. Question number 1, I've explained the idea of satire, how he makes fun of people in power. Number 2 is, how, the author's indirect comment on subjecting innocent animals to the willfulness of human beings. When, there was a part when the tigers were practicing birth control because there were no more tigers left. All those part. Number 3 is the behavior is minions. So minion is a very common term. You might know it from the movie Despicable Me. Minion is a person who who agrees to his ruler and does everything that the master says. The Maharaja in this case, and his minions were the Diwans and almost all the people in his state. And if you find these kind of examples, if in the political or in the administration, not just in the country but all over the world, there people are too ready to agree to the ruler. Because we're trained like that, and that creates a lot of problems. All right. Do you find a similarity in today's political order? If you observe carefully, if you follow the news, you would. All right. There is a very lack of criticism. And number 4, can you relate instances of game hunting? Reminds me of Salman Khan. The rest is up to you. You can do your own research. These are the 4 questions. There is question number 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the 4 questions to which you have derived the answers. Number 5 is not relevant in this case. If you are able to write all the 4 questions, please know that you'll be ready for the boards. You would have understood everything clearly and properly. There is nothing else that you have to learn separately about this chapter. Please take your time. This chapter seems a bit serious. It has to be understood. Unlike this is chapter where you actually see the use of what you studied in political science back in 8th and 9th and 10th standard, the idea of fundamental rights, equality of power, rule of law. Thanks for watching.